Hi, so in today's lesson, we want to look at the Newton's law of motion. But before we move on to the Newton's law of motion, I want to take you back to the basic ideas behind motion. So we'll start with the definition of motion. What exactly is motion? Motion is defined as the change in position with respect to time. So these are the two most important ideas in this definition. Change in position and time. So that means motion is when you change your position, and of course you have to do that in time. All right. So if you have to move from point A to point B, you have to do that in time. So that means as you move like this, it takes some seconds to actually move down to B. So that's what we mean by motion. Then we move to what exactly causes motion. So motion is actually caused by unbalanced forces. What do I mean by that? Let's say that a force is pulling this ball towards this direction. Let's call that FA. And then another force is pulling this ball to the back. Let's call this FB. So if if this force here is greater than the force that's pulling this here, of course, then the ball tends to move in this direction because the force in this direction is actually greater than the force in this direction. All right, so if the force FB is greater, then if the force FB is greater in this direction than this, then the ball tends to move in this direction. Why? Because the force that is moving towards the left is actually greater than the force that is moving towards the right. So hence this ball will actually shift towards the left. So depending on, likewise, if you are pulling somebody, so two people are pulling you and you're in the middle, it's the one that has the greatest force that actually you move towards his side. So that's what causes motion. So when the forces are unbalanced, then motion has to occur. But if the forces that are acting on the body is the same, then the body is going to be stationary. That means it's not going to move, it's going to be at rest. So unbalanced forces causes motion. All right. So in our next lesson, lesson, we'll be looking at the figures that are behind historical figures that are behind the discovery of motion.